in your own words. People say that to you. You know, when you hear that a lot in a classroom or in a courtroom, they'll say to you, tell us in your own words. Do you have your own words?
Oh shit, 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 oh shit.
Bob Arum proved to the world that if your company is not public, they can lie about pay-per-view numbers. Let's talk.
Gotcha, bitch.
Straighter, not roundhouse right hand.
And that's what we've been talking about, the straight shot. The one where he gets leverage on it.
I don't want to kill somebody
back
for
a little bit.
seconds.
Nah, I want a body on my record.
Now, I want to see you fight motherfuckers. I do. All right? I'm with you. I'm with you. As long as you're trying to fight the great, the best competition.
Can you really say that about a sport that's generating 1.7 million pay-per-views for UFC 100 and getting over a million for UFC 101? I mean, clearly, unless everyone is mistaken and everyone thinks that this is a disgusting sport, something's wrong with our society, right?
Well, something's wrong with your math, because there ain't no way that a pay-per-view generated anything like the numbers that you gave me and that they put out. I know what the numbers are.
What did they do?
The numbers were south of 1 million.
For 100?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
So they're off by 700 or so thousand?
Who's to check? They're not a public company. Who's to check?
See, that's you. That's you right there. I see this your shit. Smell that. That's you.
Those are Bob Arum's words. So let's just break this down a little bit, because a lot of people don't really understand that. If you are a publicly traded company, you answer to the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC. Publicly traded companies are required to submit an external audit as part of their annual filings to the SEC. They are required to do this. Now, there's two things that they have to do every single year. A publicly traded company, every single year. You have to submit this 10K, and you have to do an annual report. Now, we'll go into a little bit deeper on the 10K here in a second, but I'm just going to go over this. An overview is what the 10K is. Publicly traded companies in the United States are required to file a host of documents with the SEC. These filings include data and information about their most recent profits, pay-per-views, cash flow, pay-per-views, operations and finances, pay-per-views, and what the company pays for fights. Yeah. So the promoter going into the office, talking to the network and saying, hey, I got this fight. How much are you willing to pay for it? Did they got to push? If they are a public company, they got to let the world know this. Yeah, this is stuff that if you are a publicly traded company, then anybody can just go get this. They can just go get this information, bro. They can go themselves and get this information and say, okay, well, the promoters talked to the networks, and the networks gave them this amount of money. This is how much money they gave them. It's public knowledge. When the pay-per-views were done, this is how many pay-per-views it did. It's public knowledge. I don't got to rely on Dan Raphael. I don't got to rely on anybody. It's public knowledge. Yes, I can go to the damn IRS and get these damn. I can go to the SEC, to the Securities and Exchange Commission, and get these numbers, these pay-per-view numbers. Because when you submit that 10K, you have to file your information about your profits, your cash flow, your operations, and your finances. The other thing is the annual report. Annual report is just a booklet. It's not as detailed as the 10K, but it's a booklet with pictures, because the 10K ain't got no pictures in it. The 10K is just raw numbers. That filing's just raw numbers. It's just raw data. Blam, bam, 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 bam. Here you go. And I have to present that. I got a publicly traded company, it has to do that. Has to, because it protect. Well, we'll go into it in a second. Matter of fact, let's go into it now. A 10K. Public companies are also required to submit a 10K report every year. While it is officially filed with the SEC, it is also available to the public. Visually, the 10K form is a bare bones document compared to the annual report, as the name applies. It is a form. The SEC has very strict guidelines on what information must be included and how it must be organized. This generic format contains no pictures or charts. The 10K includes 5 distinct sections. The first 3 provide an overview of the company's main operations, including its products and services, basically all the fighters. Any and all risks the company faces and specific financial information about the company over the last 5 years. The 4th has senior management's explanations of its financial results, pay-per-view. The final section furnishes the numbers themselves, the company's audited financial statements, including the income statement, balance sheets, and statement of cash flows. Ultimately, a 10K report is a full description of the company's financial activity during a given fiscal year. Corporate agreements, operations, fiscal year, and a full rundown of risk, legalities, liabilities, corporate agreements, operations, and market performance. Listen, bro, what this telling you is that if I put on a pay-per-view in a publicly traded corporation, if I did this, then I must tell you the numbers. I must present them. I must do it every single year. Must. So that when I give that out, now I can't cheat my stakeholders. I can't say I did X when I did Y. Because if I did more, that means they deserve more. They get more money. I'm cheating them if I don't put it out to the public. That's why they gotta do it. But it's all good. I understand. Y'all don't want to hear me, but y'all gonna hear me today. So, public companies. Public companies in the United States are required by law to have their financial statements and internal controls audited annually by independent certified public accountants, CPAs. Why? Transparency, accountability, build trust in the market, and provide insurance to the investors, creditors, and their stakeholders. Private companies in the United States have limited public disclosure. Limited, and the what is limited, let's go over that. Let's show you. Let's check this out. The only thing that a private company has to do, the only thing, is generate a business disclosure with the Secretary of State. Generate that. Okay, here, hey, I'm gonna have a company. Register your company with the SEC. Hey, I got a company. Secretary of State, SEC. And then I have to do my taxes every single year. But they're not public. Nothing that a private company has to do is available to nobody. I can tell you whatever I want to tell you. Whatever I want to tell you. Yeah. Hey, I told the Secretary of State. The Secretary of State knows. The SEC commission, the commission, they know. They know I got a company. Hey, I filed my taxes correctly. Did my taxes correctly. The IRS got them. But they're private documents. They are not available to nobody. They are private documents with the Secretary of State, with the SEC, and the IRS. They are private freaking documents. Well, let's keep that up there because I want you guys to know who are the private companies. DAZN is a private company. And I keep telling you, they are under no obligation to give their numbers. None. They're under no obligations to tell you guys what pay-per-view numbers they did because they're a private industry. They're a private company. They don't have to tell you anything. And if they do tell you something, they're under no obligation to tell you the truth. PBC. The PBC is a private company. They don't have to tell you anything. Nothing. And if they did, they are under no obligation to tell you the truth. None. They can tell you whatever number they want to tell you. ESPN is a private company. They are under no obligation to tell you the truth. None. None. They're under no obligation to tell you the truth. None. Nothing about what they say or do they have to report to the public. Nothing. They can tell fat ass Dan Raphael or one of these goofy ass niggas, Mike Coppinger or one of these motherfuckers, they can tell one of them, hey, we did $1 million. And then they'll take it and tweet it and you guys will use it as the gospel. This is the gospel. Dan Raphael said it. Mike Coppinger, Stephen Kim, Kevin Aioli, they said it. They said it. They said it. They said it did $1 million. Wow, this guy's a star. It did $1 million pay-per-view. Cap. They're under no obligation, y'all. No obligation. None. They can lie about any number they want to lie about. And there is nobody that can get their accurate numbers unless you have ties to the execs. If you have ties to the execs, this is a private company. All three of them are private companies. If you have ties to the execs and you want to know the numbers from the execs, then you can get the numbers from the execs. So that's why it's so fucking crazy that these same people that'll tell you these numbers about Canelo Alvarez and DAZN, they got those numbers from execs. Why don't they get the numbers for any other DAZN fight? How come Dan Raphael, Stephen Kim, Kevin Aioli, Mike Coppinger, how come none of those guys have the Day of Reckoning pay-per-views? Anthony Joshua was on that card. How come they don't have them? How come they don't have the numbers with the Ring of Fire with Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou? How come they don't got those numbers? Joshua's on that card. He don't sell. Why don't they got those numbers? Oh, they can't get that. But they can get any other number, but they can't get that one though. They can't get DAZN numbers. But you can get other numbers from DAZN when Canelo does numbers, then you can get those numbers. Cap, bro. Absolute cap. You're just making shit up. They're just making shit up. The most valid numbers that anybody has got from anybody are the ones that I gave you. Because they came from execs. Yeah, that 135,000 for Devin versus Regis came from execs. That 400, that over 400K that Devin did with Ryan Garcia, it came from execs. They're not putting the fucking numbers out. They're not telling the people what the numbers are. For what reason? Why would they? What are they gaining? They got more to lose than to gain. So the only reason why I know is because I know motherfuckers that are there. I know motherfuckers that'll get those numbers. Oh, you think Dan Raphael doesn't and blah, blah, blah. Cool, okay, if Dan Raphael and Stephen Kim and Michael Coppinger and Kevin Aioli, if these guys know, then tell them, ask them what are their numbers. Ask them. Because I don't give a fuck about them. I don't care about those numbers. I don't care about none of the numbers. The only reason why I got Devin's numbers is because y'all said he didn't sell and it was a flop and a failure. That is the only reason why I reached out to get them. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gave a fuck. I don't care because the only pay-per-view that matters is the one that I bought. That is the only one that matters to me, the one that I bought. I don't care about the other ones. I don't care. I don't give a fuck if it was 10 million motherfuckers bought it. That's irrelevant to me. I don't give a fuck. The only one I care about is the one I bought. But you guys praise these guys as if they're the gospel. Okay, cool. Well, then tell one of them to prove me wrong. Tell one of them to prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Go get the numbers for the Day of Reckoning. Go get the numbers for the Ring of Fire. Go get those numbers. Go get all of Canelo Alvarez's numbers. Go get all the rest of them. Go get them all. Go get everybody else's numbers on DAZN. Go get Sonny Edwards and Ben Rodriguez's numbers. Go get Sonny Edwards against Estrada. Go get those numbers. They're not public knowledge. Nobody is going to publish those numbers because they're not public knowledge. The only time that you can claim to get numbers is if it's on free TV, because then you can use Nelson ratings from free TV. That's it, bro. You can't get fucking numbers from pay-per-view, bro. This is all cap. This shit about, oh, Tank did 1.2 million. That's a lie. That's a fucking lie. Because the Zone don't release their numbers. It's a fucking lie. They don't release their numbers. PBC is under no obligation to release their numbers. None. So if the PBC said it did a $1.2 million, who in the PBC said this? Where'd you get these from? Because Leonard Ellerby said it? PBC is not going to get DAZN's numbers. For what reason? And they're under no obligation to release them. None. Zero. That's the reason why y'all really don't know the numbers that Gervonta Tank Davis has done at all. You have no fucking clue. You have no idea how many numbers he's done. None. None. Zero knowledge. You just believe what somebody tells you. Just go, oh, well, this guy. Somebody who has a stake in it. Someone who has well, shit, my part is to make this guy look good. Or that guy look good. Or that guy look good. That's my part. So that's what I'm on it. I'm going to tell you this number because it makes this guy look good. Bro, if I wanted to make Devin look good, I could say Devin did 400,000 pay-per-view buys with Regis Pork Rate and nobody could prove me wrong. Nobody. I could easily post Devin did 500,000 pay-per-view buys. He did 500K pay-per-view buys with Regis Pork Rate. Or I could just look at Tank's imaginary numbers and say Devin did 50,000 more. Oh, Tank did 250. Devin did 300,000 pay-per-view buys with Regis Pork Rate. And there's nobody that can prove me wrong. But I gave you the exact number that I was given. And it wasn't more than Tank's numbers. It was less. That doesn't make Devin look good to do less than Tank, bro. It was less numbers. Less numbers. He did $135. Gervonta Tank Davis averages 250. He averages 250. He averages 250, 300,000. Devin averages 150, 175. That's what he averages. 150, 175,000, maybe 200,000 pay-per-view buys. He averages below Tank. He averages that. Tank averages above everybody down there. That's what he averages. I could easily fluff and lie about numbers, but for what reason? What's the point? I don't get nothing from that. I get more out of telling the truth. I don't have to remember. I don't have to memorize a fucking lie. I mean, the truth. I have to memorize a lie. And if I fucking slip up one day and you're, oh, wait a minute, you said it was this, you said it was that. Yeah, I don't gotta memorize the truth, man. The truth is what it is. I don't have to memorize shit. It just, hey, this is what I heard. I heard them. That's what it was. Bob Arum is on record telling you guys, private companies can lie about the numbers. Private companies. They are under no obligation to tell the truth about the numbers. Private companies. Under no obligation. Absolutely none. None. They can tell you whatever the fuck they want to tell you. Today they'll say, oh, we did $1 billion. Tomorrow they say, oh, well, you know, Gervonta Tank Davis didn't do 10,000 pay-per-view buys. Those numbers are lies. Devin Haney only did 1,000 pay-per-view buys. Yeah, they can just make it whatever number they want. And who is to discredit them but themselves? Bob Arum is on record constantly talking about how he knows this and he knows that, and then they'll come out here and fucking lie, blatantly fucking lie, and make up some shit, and then come out and say, oh, well, you know, did good numbers. That's what he said about Terrence Crawford. Habitually, oh, he does good numbers, good numbers, great good numbers. He does good numbers. Oh, well, you know, Terrence Crawford did 50,000 pay-per-view buys with Victor Postol, and this is what we expected him to do. This is a good number. Then everybody else will come out talk about how, oh man, it's a fucking flop. 50,000 ain't shit. It's a flop until it's Golovkin. And when Golovkin does the exact same number or less with Lemieux, I think he did 35,000 pay-per-view buys with Lemieux. All of a sudden, this is right on track. This is the beginning of a star right here. Don't nobody know Lemieux. And for him to do 35,000 pay-per-view buys with Lemieux, he's right on track. 35, 40,000, this is the beginning of a star, y'all. He's a star. 35,000 with unknown Lemieux. Well, who the fuck knew Postal? Whatever. I digress. The bottom line of the whole situation is Bob Arum told y'all blatantly in a fit of rage, when you're mad, you're gonna say some shit that you really mean, and then you try to cover it up later on. Well, I didn't really mean that. No, you absolutely meant that when you were mad, absolutely, or when you're drunk. When you're drunk, you're going to say exactly what you feel, exactly what your sobriety would cover up. And when you're mad, you're going to say exactly what you feel and what you think. You're going to say those things. Because you've been thinking about them all this time anyway. You just were never mad enough to say them. It just never bothered you enough to say some shit. But when they started throwing the UFC in his face, oh, he told you the truth, Farrah. He told you the truth. He told you the truth. And where is UFC at? Isn't UFC on ESPN? ESPN Plus? Pretty sure Bob Arum had a good-ass idea what those numbers were. Pretty sure he's working with those execs back then, just same way he's working with them now. So I'm pretty sure he could tell you what the numbers are when it comes to Top Rank. Yeah, or ESPN. Because he works with those execs. Telling you the numbers when it comes to DAZN or PBC is full of shit. It's full of shit. Why the fuck would they tell him for? What purpose would they tell him? What purpose? What are they gaining by telling him their numbers? They gain absolutely nothing. It's better for him to be in the dark and not fucking know that they did good or that they failed. Because even if they did good and they told him they did good, well, if they do bad and say nothing, then he can say, well, normally they'll tell me when they do good. The fact that they said nothing says it all. They're lying about the numbers. He ain't the only smart peckerwood in the world. He's not the only one, bro. There is lawyers everywhere that know exactly the same shit that he knows and can articulate it better. He's just one of them. He's just been doing it for 90 fucking years. So yeah, when he said what he said, he was pissed off. He was pissed off and he told the truth. And that just caused BF to do a little research and come up with reality. Yeah, all three of y'all, of everybody's favorite networks, DAZN, the PBC, and ESPN, they are all three are private companies. They have no obligation, zero, to tell the public the numbers. No obligation. None. And even with PBC being tied to Amazon, and Amazon is a publicly traded company, PBC is not. It is PBC in association with Amazon. The only thing Amazon is obligated to do is probably tell them, not probably, definitely, post or put in the ether how much their connection, how much they paid for the connection to PBC. But PBC as itself is a private company associated with Amazon, which is a publicly traded company. So the only thing that the stakeholders of Amazon need to know is how much money was dished out for PBC. That's it. That's the only thing that Amazon is obligated to do, is let them know how much money was dished out. That is part of the portfolio, part of the 10K, part of the annual report on what we dished out for PBC. So that the stakeholders of Amazon know, okay, they gave this money out for PBC. They are under no obligation, none, to tell anybody the PBC's number, because the PBC is public. It's private. Amazon is public. If PBC fell under Amazon, if it was a subsidiary, if Amazon bought out PBC and PBC was associated with Amazon, then Amazon would have to publish all those numbers. They did not. They are partnered. They partnered. So the only thing that Amazon can hide some shit in PBC if you want to keep it a rack. All they got to do is push some bread that direction and say, hey, we paid them $250 million to partner with them. When the reality is all they paid them is $200 million. They can stash $50 million right over there. And as long as they post to their stakeholders in the public and the SEC that we paid $250 million, then they're right A-okay. Because they have disclosed the amount of money that they put up for that. Even if it's not the full thing, because there's no one on the PBC side that is saying anything. Nothing. They're not coming out there saying we did this. And when they disclose their tax at the end of the year, they don't got to make it public. So no one's going to say, well, wait a minute. You said you did 250, Amazon, and the PBC on their taxes only shows 200. What happened to the other $50 million? The PBC is under no obligation as long as they pay their taxes. That's it. As long as Amazon pays their taxes and publishes numbers, and the PBC pays their taxes, nobody's checking for it. No harm, no foul. Sort of like what happened with Donald Trump until there was a foul. Yeah, when there was a foul, now all of a sudden there's harm. If there was no foul, hey, no harm, no foul. There's nothing like that. Everybody's fine, good to go. It might be more than that. They might say we paid $500 million to partner just so they can hide $250 million over there. Because they're partnered. They don't own them, just like Top Rank is partnered. It's not owned by ESPN. It's partnered. And so ESPN has nothing. Matchroom is partnered with DAZN in America. I don't know what the fuck they are over in the UK, but in America, they're partnered with DAZN. They got no obligations. That's why the man can get $1 billion. He can get $1 billion from DAZN, and nobody knows where the money went. Yeah, he can get. That's why Eddie Hearn can get $1 billion from DAZN, and nobody knows where a fucking dollar went. They spent $1 billion on Tevin Farmer, Mikey Garcia, and shit. What's that dude? Cheese Man? Head Cheese Man or some shit like that. Spent $1 billion on and Dillian White. $1 billion. Man, if y'all don't get the fuck out of here. But that's how he's able to get away with it. That's why it's no harm, no foul. Because nobody really knows what he did with the bread. And he's under no obligation to post it to nobody. Because DAZN is a private company. If no one's screaming, I'm harmed, then there is no foul for anybody to check. And it is what it is. But I'm pretty sure I'm giving you this proof. I'm showing you the facts. I'm pretty sure you guys are just going to run with it anyway. When someone gives you some fucking numbers about what somebody did on pay-per-view, you're just going to run with it. Oh, man, Tank just did 300,000 pay-per-view buys with Frank Martin. No, he didn't. No, he did not. Where's the proof he did? Don't ask me where's the proof he didn't. Where's the proof he did? Don't give me no motherfucking reverse psychology. Because like I said, I can reach out to motherfuckers who have can speak to the execs, and the execs will tell them what the numbers are. Yeah. And I don't give a fuck about the numbers. None of them. So I won't be wasting my motherfucking time. So that reverse psychology don't work with me at all. If it's a thing, I will go do some research. I will go talk to some people to get some information. If it's a thing. Now, who the fuck is Dan Raphael talking to? Mike Coppinger, Stephen Kim, Kevin Yoli, Michael Benson. Who are they talking to? Who are they talking to? I don't believe none of those motherfuckers. Because every last one of them are on the payroll. Every last one of them get paid. They ain't got no other jobs. Their job is to fucking partner with people that want them to push out a narrative and then push out a narrative. And then they get paid for pushing out a narrative. That's all their job is. They don't got no fucking job. That's it. Feed the narrative to the people and sway the narrative in any direction that I want this narrative to be swayed. That's why Bob Arum will cuss out one of these. You're a schmuck. And yet he'll be at all the fights. Bob Arum can stop anybody from getting credentials at any fight that's for Top Rank. He can stop any one of them. He can just say, who? Mike Coppinger? No. And they will shit can his credentials, and he'll have to buy his ticket. He won't have to go. He'll have no ability to go in the back, no ability to go do press conference. He'll have no ability to do any of that. He'll have no ability to do none of it. None. No ability. But yet he's always there. Because he's paid to push narratives, Pushing narratives in the sport of boxing is one of the most powerful tools, most expensive tool. It's undeniably the most powerful tool in boxing. So I can push and say Vasyl Lomachenko is the greatest fighter since Muhammad Ali, and then just have people push behind him. There ain't nothing special about Lomachenko. He's just a white guy that fights like a black guy. That's it. And black guys that fight like black guys are called boring. The white guys that fight like black guys are called the greatest fighters since Muhammad Ali and special and talented and all kinds of shit. But black guys that fight like black guys need to do something more. Whatever, bro. Whatever. I can go down this road all day long. The bottom line is the pay-per-view numbers that you guys are rocking with, the pay-per-view numbers that you guys believe are real numbers, the pay-per-view numbers that you think this old-ass, goofy-ass, weird-ass Dick Glazer dude think y'all, these numbers that y'all think that they're cap. They're absolute cap. This dude Glazer said he gets his numbers from some guy that does the numbers from his room in Vegas. Well, how the fuck is he compiling all these numbers to get these? How's he compiling them? There ain't no motherfucking hub where these numbers is coming in directly to his apartment in Vegas. But you goofy motherfuckers believe this shit anyway. No, if these numbers ain't coming from the fucking people who actually get them, the private orders, the CEOs and the execs in these companies, if they're not coming from them, then they're cap. They're fucking cap. All of them are lies. All of them. But I'm pretty sure it ain't gonna matter. Not gonna matter. Y'all motherfuckers gonna believe these motherfuckers anyway because the great and powerful white man told you. As long as the great and powerful white man told you that these numbers were legit, then y'all gonna believe them. The same thing y'all do with the fucking ESPN pound for pound rankings. Y'all look at that shit as the gold standard. It is not the gold standard. It is their opinion, and it's some people's opinion who don't even cover boxing. These motherfuckers cover hockey, basketball, football, but they got a say in what someone's ranking is in boxing, and even boxers be like, oh shit, when am I going to get on this rank? Fuck those rankings. Those rankings don't mean shit. They don't mean anything. That's someone's opinion that don't even study the sport. Someone's opinion who's literally getting paid by the organization that they're presenting opinion for. Their livelihood comes from the organization that they're presenting an opinion for. Why do you think barely ever any PBC fighters are on the pound-for-pound rankings? Barely ever. But there's always top-ranked fighters on the pound-for-pound rankings. Always. There has never not been a time when a top-ranked fighter was not on ESPN's pound-for-pound rankings. Never. I can't think of a time in my entire life. There has always been one. At least one. Always. You cannot say that about the PBC. Bro, you've had more people who was with Queensberry who've been in the pound-for-pound rankings, the ESPN pound-for-pound rankings, than the damn PBC fighters. But I digress. It's a whole different story. Basically, y'all, the pay-per-view numbers are fucking lies. The pay-per-view numbers are used to steer the narrative for a specific fighter. Alone, point blank and period. And you guys will believe it anyway. Because you're too far gone. You're too far gone to sit back and say, wait a minute. So if you're getting numbers, where are you getting the numbers from? Who's telling you these numbers? Where you get these from? And the crazy thing is, none of you guys are too far gone to ask me those questions. You'll ask me in a heartbeat, oh, where you get the numbers from? Oh, that's cap. I need to see proof. You'll say that to me in a heartbeat. But you're too far gone as a fucking sheep to go with these white people. Michael Coppinger, Stephen Kim, Kevin Iole, Michael Benson. These guys will put out numbers and you'll run with it as the gospel. Because you're lost when it comes to those white people. You're lost when it comes to those others. But let a black man tell you the numbers. Let a black man say the numbers. And all of a sudden, a black man, oh, no, we need proof. Because we know niggers lie. You niggers, all y'all do is steal and lie. So we need proof. I need to see it. And any proof that I gave y'all wouldn't matter anyway. That's all I do every day is give y'all proof. And y'all still challenge it. Every single day. But none of y'all motherfuckers will challenge Dan Raphael. And he has never given you proof of anything. The only thing that Dan Raphael has given you proof of is that he weighs 6,000 fucking pounds and he takes pictures. He takes up the whole picture if everybody does selfies. And he gets good seats in boxing matches. That's all he's proved to you. Michael Coppinger, Michael Benson, Stephen Kim, Kevin Iole, they all do the same thing. None of these niggas have proved nothing. They have never showed y'all a shred of proof. None of them. Not one. They just repost each other's shit as proof. One of them will say something and then they'll just go around reposting. According to Michael Coppinger, Michael Benson, according to Mike Benson, Mike Coppinger, Dan Raphael, and then Dan Raphael say, well, according to Mike Benson, and y'all just repost each other's shit and try to make you guys reposting each other's shit the gospel and the truth. These pay-per-view numbers are lies. They're fucking frauds. Y'all don't even care. Whatever, though. BFTB. Shout out to the mighty LDBC.